I love my friend for sending me videos like this. Today, we would be looking at a Facebook video that has been shared amongst conspiracy theorists. This one is from a group called A Conspiracy Hole, and the video is about how Victoria in Australia needs to wake up. Though it's kind of disheartening to know that my friend actually believes this kind of nonsense and would never see any of my videos. It's the ones with titles that they agree with, follows their own special bubble, is the one they would consume and propagate, and never the ones destroying every single claim made by these nuts. Oh well, let's jump into the video.
Hello Facebook, and hello Australia, and hello Victoria.
Oh, what a polite gentleman. Well, hello to you as well, my dear sir.
I hope you're feeling healthy down there. I hope you're feeling healthy while you're locked up under curfew, deprived of sunlight, being told you can exercise 1 hour a day, being told you have to cover your face. I hope you're feeling really healthy right now.
Well, actually, if you haven't noticed, a novel virus has been spreading around the globe, and people all over the world are feeling, well, poorly. To help reduce the transmission of this virus, we have been asking people to maintain social distancing. Guess what? We have seen success with this strategy and a lower death toll. I'll give you a real simple example how, and this is one of many reasons. There is no countries with enough hospitals to accommodate every single one of their population. It makes sense, right? You don't expect 100% of your people to fall ill at the same time. Furthermore, different diseases needs different equipments, medicine and so on. One of this equipment is a respiratory ventilator, better known as mechanical ventilation or assisted ventilation, sometimes abbreviated as IMV. It is the medical term of artificial ventilation where mechanical means are used to assist or replace spontaneous breathing. Logistically, you can't imagine every room in the hospital to have one of this equipment. You're following me so far, right? What I'm getting at is, there are a finite number of equipments in a hospital that can't accommodate all the people. So when an elderly person, as often they have pre-existing conditions, well, when they get infected, they're more likely to require an IMV to survive. Now imagine a hospital has 100 of these devices. If all of a sudden there are 200 new elderly infected, well, there are not enough devices to go around to treat them. Now suppose those 200 do get infected, but it happens over time without causing the unavailability of IMV. Hopefully you can see how that helps with the death rate. I'm a sheltered individual and have never been to Down Under. But I always thought Australia to be one of the least dense places on the planet. Well, I'm always open to learn new stuff. I live in Leeds, and apparently we have 9,450 people per square kilometer. Wow, I wasn't expecting that. In Victoria, in June 2017, there was a whopping 28 people. Okay, so I wasn't completely wrong. My point is, stop bitching about exercise 1 hour a day. Fine, I admit I'm a lazy bum. But unless your profession needs you to train longer, 1 hour is a lot. If average human sleeps 8 hours a day, that leaves 16 hours for everything else. 1 hour is 6% of that. Next, that 1 hour I'm pretty sure is going outside your home, correct? So if I exercise indoor, heaven forbid, or within my boundary, having enough distance away from any passerby, no one is stopping me. If you really feel the need to run up an incline, just get a running machine or whatever they're called. Then you can use it anytime, inside the peace and harmony of your own home, blasting away music or watching movie at the same time.
Alright, I hope you're feeling healthy while the elderly who built this nation die alone. Alright? With no one to hold their hand, dehydrated, not seeing their family, not seeing their loved ones, not seeing the people that they care for, who they raised to build this nation.
Okay, now officially this guy has pissed me off. Hey moron, my mum got stuck at my sister while visiting and then the pandemic happened. She's less than 20 minutes drive away, but I only get to see her once a week from outside their door. I don't even go inside, and during that period, I obviously have my mouth covered. Guess why? The elderly you talk about, it's for their safety. My mum is much better off with my sister watching her compared to a lot of elderly who are either living alone or at home. Call me stupid, but an alive granny who you can't hug is infinitely better than a dead granny.
Because this curfew, there is a coup going down in Victoria right now. Do you know how many planes from China have landed at Tullamarine Airport in the last 48 hours? Guys, there is night works going on extensively all over Victoria because they're installing 5G and biometrics, and they're flying in all the people from China who you've been sold out to while you're cowering at home watching the idiot box telling you about some fucking fake pandemic while you get sold out.
I saw this coming. Okay, deep breath. I really have one question for him. If my understanding is correct, this fake pandemic is so that Australian government can install 5G and biometric. I assume he means CCTV. Obviously, American conspiracy nuts would be saying that this is so American government can do so and so. Just one thing that boggles my mind. How do you get doctors, researchers and scientists from almost every country in the world to go along with this? Yes, almost every country. North Korea is an enigma of its own. I have a friend who did his PhD in Sheffield University on something like molecular biology. I don't understand any of it. Anyway, he has been in Bangladesh helping to curb this spread and haven't seen his family who lives in Sheffield for months and months. How did someone get to him? Or is he just having fun away from his loved one just for kicks?
And he plans to inject every single man, woman and child against their will because he is following orders.
I wish. We couldn't convince those anti-vaxxers that vaccine doesn't cause autism. We showed them the Lancet redactions of the article that they so desperately cling to. Even then, we have a measles comeback thanks to them. Getting everyone to get vaccinated? Yeah, best of luck with that. Don't worry, man. I'm sure you don't believe in vaccine and thus won't be taking it.
And while he locks you up in your home and flies in delegates and AI experts to install the biometric social credit system that you are all going to be a part of unless you wake up.
Okay, this time he further elaborated with mentioning social credit system. Social credit system, in case you do not know, is a draconian method. Imagine your entire life summed up in a single figure. When you do something approved by the Orwellian government, well, that is a plus point. If you do something they don't like, well, that's a negative point. At the end, this number dictates where you're allowed to live, which school your kids can go to, which methods of transport is available to you, and so on. That is a very bird's eye view of the system. In a way, most of the world has something that can be viewed resembling social credit system to a certain degree. Imagine I want to go and get a loan from the bank. The first thing they would do is to look at my credit score. This is a numerical expression based on a level analysis of a person's credit files to represent the creditworthiness of an individual. And based on this number, they might immediately reject my application or move it to the next step. It's a very simple binary result performed at the very beginning. Similarly, suppose I want to set up a high-end spa for stay-at-home moms. Now, what would make more sense? Either have it in a rich residential area or have it in a poorer part of town. Unfortunately, where you live is almost always comparable to your credit score. Once people have money, they want to move to a better part of town, and that itself increases the value of that area, and the cycle continues. But this is where the comparison is not valid anymore. In our case, you're not denied something, but just poor as to afford it. Hell, I want a Lamborghini Gallardo, and I'm sure any car dealer would welcome me with open arms as long as I have the dough. Next comes CCTV. Well, when I was in China, it reminded me of our very own London. the CCTV capital of the world, with estimated one camera for every 14 people. To clarify though, that number is all public and private CCTV. So if I was in London, my 2 CCTV would be counted towards that number. This would end up being a different video altogether if we start talking about privacy. But there is one thing I would like to point out. CCTV output on its own is pretty meaningless, unless you know exactly what you're looking for and the exact time and location. Without that, it's just a huge amount of data. Take YouTube for example. Every second, it's estimated that more than 500 hours of video are uploaded. It's not possible to manually check that vast data. Similarly, for CCTV footage, you really need facial recognition. Now, do you know what really screws up facial recognition? Masks. So you're saying that they are setting up social credit system while getting you to put mask that defeats facial recognition. Okay.
Did you think tanks were going to roll in? Did you think the planes were going to fly in when they attacked Australia and they overthrow this country? No, it doesn't work like that. They fuck with your mind first and defeat you, and they send you in your fucking home.
I'm confused. I have no love for CCP, and I have a video remembering an event that apparently never happened. But here, is he talking about China invading Australia? One thing to keep in mind though, we have seen how China traps various countries with debt. Then, China gets awarded by huge contracts that are mostly filled with Chinese people rather than local labor. Now, I have no way to confirm about this guy's claim regarding people flying in from China for various installations, but that wouldn't really surprise me. For the remaining of his video, well, I don't want you to be subjected to such torture. In summary, he keeps repeating, 1. Wake up people. 2. Why won't anybody think about the elderly? 3. People flown in from China. And 4.
These fucking pedophile Satanists. They have got you wrapped around their little finger because you believe the bullshit on their television. They're programming your mind. You need to think.
To summarize the whole video, well, is Victoria installing a lot of CCTV and 5G? Yes. Does it automatically mean it's a social credit system? No. People are being flown in from China to install them? Very much likely. But the pandemic is real. Brazil passed its 100,000 deaths with no sign of easing, with global deaths of 728,129. When do you at least accept that this is not a fake virus or a fake pandemic? Once you come to terms with that, I guarantee everything else would make a lot more sense. Well, that's all for this video. Thank you all very much for watching. If you have enjoyed it today, please do like and subscribe. It would be thoroughly appreciated. Have a safe day. Signing off.
We are one people.